Before we get into the meat of the video, I just wanted to say thank you to all the support people have been showing me when I first posted my video to a few Discord channels, and well, by now I've promoted it on pretty much all my other social media accounts, but the first couple of people who were viewing it came from Discord. I honestly didn't expect anyone to really watch the video, and I didn't think it would get any traction at all, even with my friends. So thanks guys. Also, the time-lapse drawing in the background should be showing some requests I'm doing for my 1,000 followers giveaway on the Miraculous Ladybug Amino. Link to the Amino in the description. I'll also be linking the owners of the OCs in the description. Now, on to the actual video. One of the things that's come up a lot recently is the whole idea of, quote, killing fandoms, end quote. I just want to say that even as someone who isn't a fandom veteran, I know it's not a new concept. Fandoms have often been, quote, killed by a huge number of different factors over the years. Often, the death of a fandom is attributed to a new, fresher take on the same or similar genre, the perceived mistakes committed by the creators of the franchise, and/or the general toxicity of the viewer base. Some fandoms, however, have really long life expectancies, largely because they've somehow avoided one of the three things that I talked about earlier. For example, TF2 has survived for more than 11 years as just one singular game, now with a small but highly devoted player base, because the mistakes by the creators and shiny new games don't discourage the fandom, and in general, it's a place that isn't fraught by toxicity any more than other multiplayer games of a same or similar genre. In addition, online spaces like Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr have tons of content creators who will consistently create things for TF2. The game is old enough that old fans sometimes create new content after years of doing other things, simply because they're nostalgic for something that they really loved when they were younger. Other fandoms, like Pokemon and Mario, have huge fandoms because the creators have a really good track record and the player base is loyal. However, these franchises also have the benefit of giant fandoms. If drama happens in one part of the community, you can simply jump to another part of the same community, and you'll be able to avoid pretty much everything. It's large enough that you can escape drama and keep it quarantined within certain groups so the fandom at large isn't stigmatized as a terrible fandom. However, not all fame is good fame, and there are certainly a ton of fandoms that are extremely well known for the wrong reasons, usually because the fans are kinda questionable. They can be questionable in a very large variety of different ways, but fandoms like Steven Universe, K-pop and K-dramas, and YouTubers are just a few modern examples of toxic fandoms. I'm sure there are plenty of other fandoms that have historically been very toxic, but thankfully a lot of them have dropped into relative obscurity. Talia! Sorry. Anyway, bad fans kill fandoms by killing the fandom's reputation, which discourages new fans from joining. Meanwhile, drama causes old fans to jump ship, and soon enough the fandom is just a dumpster fire with a bunch of live coals running around, burning everything till there's nothing left to burn, and then moving on to another fandom to start the process all over again. The same drama instigators in one fandom will instigate drama in the next, so on and so forth until they either find a fandom that won't tolerate their BS, or they have a change of heart, or they simply run out of fandoms to ruin. However, there have been some fandoms lately that have been really restoring my faith in the idea that fandom and the culture surrounding it can be really validating and supportive, despite the negative connotation of fandom in general. One amazing, highly visible, and very, very recent fandom, well, recently revived fandom, is the Good Omens fandom. Good Omens, The Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter, was originally a book by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. Recently, it got adapted into a TV show on Amazon Prime, featuring David Tennant as the Demon Crowley and Michael Sheen as the Angel Aziraphale. This fandom sprouted from a book that's nearly 30 years old. I don't know why I nearly said 50. And has had a sleeping fandom for years and years. This TV show has brought fans new and old together. I'm personally one of the newer fans of the show, since the book is quite literally older than I am, and I actually lost interest in reading around the time when I might have actually been interested in the book. But the best part is that Michael Sheen and Neil Gaiman both actively participate in and support their fandom, which is so much more than can be said of almost anyone else. Like, they actually listen to us when we say things. Like, Neil Gaiman has a Tumblr account where he answers our questions, and Michael Sheen will literally lurk in the tags or on the accounts of content creators that he likes on Twitter. Like, that's so much more than can be said of almost anybody else in a fandom that's as large and well known as this. And they actually appreciate the fans, despite all the toxic ones and despite the bad reputation. Michael Sheen's actually gotten a couple of Twitter things asking, why are you reading fanfiction? Why are you participating in 12-year-old fantasies? And he's like, I support people who like to create things and who felt inspired creatively by something that I participated in. And I think that's such a good attitude to have about fandom. And honestly, Good Omens actually checks off all 3 requirements for keeping a lively fandom. Nothing, and I mean literally nothing, can ever top Good Omens in its genre, because it's unique and beautifully written to the point where anything else would feel like a cheap knockoff. The original creators do their best to nurture the fandom, and the fandom itself is large enough that any toxicity within the fandom tends to be contained within a relatively small part of the fandom, and you can find your own niche pretty easily without ever even getting a whiff of drama. Like, I'm one of those people. I've only ever sort of seen drama happen somewhere else, and whenever I did see it, I just kind of unfollowed some people and it was all gone. It wasn't there anymore. Okay, well, after listening to me ramble about all these good and bad examples of fandoms living and dying, you might be wondering, does Renar even have a point in this video? Is he just gonna, gush about Good Omens forever? Actually, I do have a point. My point is that we, as members of fandoms, have a responsibility to the fandom spaces that we occupy. Notice how in one of my examples, Team Fortress 2, I pointed out that it was pretty much the fandom alone that is carrying the entire weight of the game on its shoulders. The creators have made mistake after mistake after mistake. Like, Valve as a company is terrible. There was gonna be a TV show, but they had to cancel it because Valve is just that bad at keeping deadlines. In addition, there have been tons of TF2 killers, air quotes, in the past, the most recent one being Overwatch and to some extent Apex and Fortnite, though most other FPSs kind of lost player base to these games, so they don't really count. The only thing keeping TF2 alive is the people participating in the fandom, that literally are not paid at all. Well, except for some of the community people who make cosmetics and things for the game. Most of us aren't paid to play the game, and we aren't paid to make content for the game, yet we do it anyway, and TF2 is still alive because of us. The lesson to be learned from this video, basically, is that even though amazing creators and unique franchises do exist, it's almost pure luck when you're gonna see fandoms that are like Good Omens. More often than not, fandoms need to be largely self-sustaining. This means that we are responsible for respecting each other, creating our own content, and supporting the pillars in our communities. This means that we are all responsible for commenting on someone's fanfiction when you really like it, or retweeting/reblogging some really cool fan art, or really cool fanfiction. I know fanfiction often gets fewer notes on Tumblr than artwork does. And asking and crediting the artist when you want to repost their artwork, etc. We need to collectively get our acts together, because while yes, we can blame the creators or the appearance of a shiny new fandom, we also need to acknowledge our own part in supporting the communities we love. This means that everyone who's saying, oh my god, TF2 is dead, it needs to stop. Thanks, we are not dead, I'm alive, and so long as one of us is still alive, the game and the franchise is still alive. Anyway, thanks for listening to my really preachy video, and I hope you enjoyed. If this video gets some attention, I'll definitely think about making more commentary-style videos where I just run some drawings that I've queued up or whatever, like random themed drawings in the background, and I talk about something that I want to talk about. And now for the sellout bit. If you want to see more of my content with less of the waiting, I post art at All the Pandas in the World on both Tumblr and Instagram. Links in the description. Tumblr is more for my digital art, and Instagram is more for my traditional art, which is mostly sketches. But I will be reposting between platforms the best of each type. So, like my best traditional art, I'll post on both Tumblr and Instagram, and of course, same goes for digital art. If you'd like to support me financially, please do. I'm in college. Thank you. My Ko-fi is linked in the description, and my commissions are also open, so feel free to shoot me a message on any of my social media accounts. And if you came from one of the promotions I made for these videos on my social media or on Discord, thanks so much for watching all the way through to the end, or even if you didn't and you just skipped here, I appreciate you for trying anyway. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you in the next video.